Today, we become legends.
So as promised, we got the full reveal of Surtr and his abilities in the 10.1 patch notes show, and boy does he look like a pretty insane addition to the warrior roster. So without further ado, here's his ability overview. Quickly before we start, it's worth noting that Surtr has extended basic attack range as well as a unique hit chain that has a normal hit, 2 cleave hits, then a final big swing. So first up we have Surtr's passive, Obsidian Flash. This one is pretty simple but quite powerful and provides some nice sustain over time for Surtr. Every time he takes 15% of his max health, a fragment cracks off of him and lands on the ground. Picking this up grants 10 plus 1 per level protections of both kind and 3% max health and healing over 3 seconds. So effectively 1/5 of the damage Surtr takes is healed up if he can stay on top of all these fragments. They can however be destroyed by enemies walking over them first, so there is some counterplay to this. The Flames of Muspel is Surtr's first ability, which grants him haste, and his next basic attack will deal bonus magical damage. Note, he is a warrior, this ability just deals bonus magical damage. And this will ignite the target as well, dealing physical damage over time, and spawning a fire imp for 10 seconds that will chase and attack enemies. The bonus damage of this ability increases if an enemy dies while under the effect of the burn. It starts at 30 and gains 3 extra magical damage per stack, up to 200 stacks max, which will be absolutely insane late game if you can get this maxed out. This ability looks super fun as well as super strong, especially in the late game. The total damage when maxed out is 840 plus 30% physical power, and some of that is magical damage, which will be hard to mitigate, and that's not even to mention the small bits of extra damage that the imp will deal to the target that this spawns. With a relatively low cooldown of 10 seconds, last hitting as often as possible using this ability will be crucial to how strong it is late game using that bonus magical damage. Next up we have Giant's Grasp. Surtr pulls the nearest enemy minion or his fire imp to him, or a magma rock if neither of these are in range. He then hurls this object forward in a line, dealing damage and stunning enemies hit. If the object thrown is your imp, it will deal an extra AoE explosion on hit. So I'm officially declaring this ability be name changed to the Big Yeet. Surtr's third ability is Ember Walk. So Surtr has no traditional dash, jump or teleport, but Ember Walk is his way of sticking to targets. He creates a ring of embers around him that buffs his movement speed a base amount and more each time he hits an enemy. The ring deals damage on the way out and on the way back in when it collapses at the end of the duration, and will slow enemies hit both times. Enemies inside the outer ring while fully formed also take continuous damage over time, but not in the inner ring. It's worth noting that he has extended basic attack range, and so he can reach enemies in this sweet spot of his 3 with basic attacks and by extension using his 1. Any Obsidian Flash fragments from his passive that are inside the ring will automatically be picked up, granting Surtr the benefit of his passive. So this ability is a double dip on the movement speed, as it will increase Surtr's while decreasing the enemies. At max stacks, the swing is 50% as Surtr gains 30% and slows for 20%. While he might struggle sometimes to get into a fight, once he gets on you, this ability is going to be nasty to get away from. Blink is definitely going to be Surtr's best friend for engaging. But that wouldn't be his only way to engage, as his ultimate, End of Days, allows Surtr to leap into the air as a giant meteor, where he is immune to damage and can choose a location to come crashing down. On the way down, meteorites will split off and hit nearby enemies, which deals damage and spawns a fire imp. Surtr then lands, dealing huge damage and knocking up enemies hit. So as I mentioned, this will be a great way to engage as Surtr, since it gives you great mobility and engages with a knockup. This could also be used to buy time in fights, as you're in the air for a decent length of time. You can also spawn fire imps on landing, which can immediately be used for Giant's Grasp to hurl them at your enemies for a follow-up stun and AoE damage, at which point you can activate Ember Walk and start spamming his 1 on people, which by late game should be dealing an insane amount of damage if you've been keeping up on your last hits. But that's Surtr's kit overview. He looks like an insanely fun warrior, and I can't wait for him to drop so I can yeet people's own minions at them and one-shot them with his 200 stacking 1. What do you guys think about Surtr? Let me know down below, and I'll catch you guys in another one later on. Have a great day, and peace out, you nerds.